After Thunderbolts introduced the MCU's void and the realm of shame rooms he banishes his victims to, audiences were only explicitly shown a handful of characters' most traumatic experiences, but I'm now convinced we caught a glimpse of Bucky Barnes' most traumatic moment from an 11-year-old MCU movie. Although Thunderbolts only earned $382 million globally at the end of its theatrical run, becoming the MCU's fifth lowest-grossing movie, it's safe to say it won over both audiences and critics. It struck a tone that felt decidedly unique for the MCU, delving deep into themes of mental health and debuting a team of new Avengers that only partially resembles the traditional lineup. The Void's shame rooms were a pivotal set piece in this regard, forcing the titular team of Avengers to be, and all of Manhattan for that matter, to relive their most shameful memories in perpetuity at a low point. This was at least until Yelena Belova led the charge in escaping the enigmatic dimension through sheer force of will. De facto protagonists Yelena Belova and Bob Reynolds were the only characters whose shame room experiences were fleshed out on screen, aside from the glimpses of John Walker's experiences at the beginning of Thunderbolts, and Valentina Allegra de Fontaine's later on. Nevertheless, it's easy to infer what Bucky Barnes went through thanks to one particular shot. Bucky's trauma room. Thunderbolts theory explained, there is a glimpse of Bucky's shame room when breaking his way through to Bob Reynolds' shame room. In an attic above a scene depicting his father being abusive, Bucky jokingly suggests that his life was too good to have experienced anything bad in his own. To anyone who remembers Bucky's MCU arc, it is obvious that Bucky Barnes had his memories erased, a painful process he is subjected to once more in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, after Steve Rogers begins to revivify his best friend's memories. In fact, from what can be seen through the hole Bucky leaves when breaking through to Bob's shame room, it looks as if he was subjected to a memory that audiences have seen in Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Specifically, the metal railings, cold interior and dark aesthetic look suspiciously similar to Hydra's Winter Soldier program lab. This was where Bucky Barnes had his memories erased, a painful process he was subjected to once more in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, after Steve Rogers began to revive his best friend's memories. Fans online agree that, despite the evidence amounting to as little as a railing and lighting, this makes perfect sense for Bucky. Before being captured by Hydra, Bucky was a howling commando and best friend of Steve Rogers. Captain America, the Winter Soldier, saw his memories erased after he began recollecting them in a painful process that must have felt particularly traumatic. This room was the nexus of the villainy that Bucky would spend the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and beyond attempting to make amends for. Without this memory-wiping process and the brainwashing, Bucky wouldn't be nearly as racked with guilt. It's also safe to assume that Bucky's Thunderbolts shame room reflects the shame he felt for being caught and enthralled in the first place. His subsequent embrace of superheroics may therefore reflect a need to remedy his missteps. Optimistically, I interpret his flippant dismissal of his shame room experience as a sign that he has indeed moved on from the trauma.